In this video, we will set up filtering based on the type of application that our users may be using through our firewall. This type of filtering is considered as a next generation firewall capability, and the FortiGate supports this. Now, application-based filtering allows our firewall to not only look at the network address and the protocol and the port numbers, but also inspecting deeper within each packet, looking at the application headers and the actual application data itself. Here is a simple example that explains what this type of filtering really does. So the best way to understand filtering based on ports or applications is with an example of you receiving a package from a delivery person. And this picture provides a good example. So let's say that your house represents the actual firewall itself, and the front door is, let's say, the untrusted interface that anyone could access. The person delivering the package would actually be a new packet, the source of a new flow or a new connection that wants to reach the inside of your network, which let's say is your backyard. And you will be considered as the inspection engine that will determine if that package should go to the backyard or if it should be rejected. This here is an actual package that I received at one time that we will use with our example. So let's say that we received this package from the untrusted interface or at our front door. So if you are a protocol port filtering firewall, you will see that this package was shipped from China to the United States. And we will see a brief description of the contents inside, which are appendants. So we know the source, the destination, and a description for what it is. However, we have no idea for what is really inside of this package. There may be pendants inside, but there could be something more harmful. If you are an application firewall, then we also want to look inside the package to examine the contents before accepting it. And here, we do see that these are pendants, which is actually what my wife ordered. Therefore, this package can be accepted. So you can use that particular concept for understanding how application-based firewalls work. In terms of the FortiGate, we can block users based on applications or micro applications. So filtering based on applications means that we can block users from accessing the Facebook application in general. So they can't even access Facebook to begin with. But filtering based on micro applications, now that means that we can allow some aspects of Facebook to our users. Like we can permit only liking posts, but we may block users from doing postings, chatting, or maybe playing certain games. So these capabilities give us great flexibility for deeper enforcement for what is allowed out of our network to the internet. Before we configure application filtering, let's go to our user computer that we're connected to. And here we are allowed to access Facebook.com and all of its aspects. So for example, we can do postings on our newsfeed here. Something simple, let's post. Okay, we can even like comments. We can chat with other users. So let's go ahead and we'll pick on my account and just do a simple message about, hey, test. Okay, and that also works. And we can play games like Mafia Wars. We have other games too, like Candy Crush that we're connected to and so forth. Let's go ahead and quickly launch Mafia Wars. Okay, and here you see that we are connected. So we will configure application filtering to block those Facebook micro application components. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this aside. First, we need to enable the application control feature on our firewall. And that's here under security features. And there is application control. Let's turn that on and let's apply our changes. Let's go to security profiles. And there's now a new option called application control. And here it will show the default profile that we can use in our environment with various categories and components. Before we create our own profile, let's discuss many of these components that are shown here. To view all of these supported applications on our FortiGate, we can go to View Application Signatures. Okay, and this will show a comprehensive list of all application and micro applications organized based on various categories that you will see here based on technology and popularity, even the risk level for consideration. But we can also search for specific applications like, let's say, Facebook. So we can click here and let's type in Facebook to view only the Facebook related applications. Okay, and this will list all of the application signatures for Facebook that we can use in our policies for filtering. Let's go back and let's create a new application profile that we will use. So we'll click on the plus symbol here. We will define a name for this profile that will be used for our employees. So we'll say something like app and then employees. Let's actually make that app FW for application firewall. Next, we have the list of application categories where we can basically allow, or we can actually block, monitor, or traffic shape. Very similar to what we saw for web filter. Now this will filter all of the applications and micro applications that is categorized. So you want to keep that in mind. So in this case, we can allow, block, or monitor all application sites that are categorized under general interest. Or you can select the individual application and micro application that you want to filter specifically. And that's what we're going to do. So to do that, under application overrides, you will click on add signatures. Okay. And in this profile, we will focus on the Facebook and micro application components. So let's go ahead and just filter those out. Okay, and we can go through and we can search and basically select what we actually want to include in this particular profile to be filtered, to be blocked, or to be monitored. Okay, so let's go ahead and basically block Mafia Wars game. We want to block that game. Let's block chatting, the like button, and doing postings. So let's go ahead and search through here, and there's nothing there. There's Mafia Wars, so let's go ahead and block that or select that. Let's go to the third page. Okay, there is Facebook chat here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and select that. And let's go to the next page. And there it is. So let's go ahead and select the like button, micro application, and the posting micro application. And of course, we can add other micro application signatures in the future if we need to. So once we're done with selecting what we want, then we're going to click on Use Selected Signatures, and let's apply our changes by clicking on OK. For the action, we can block these micro applications. We can monitor any usage of those micro applications. We can reset the connection if needed, or we can shape it to a particular bandwidth limit, but we will block them in our environment. Next, let's go to the policy page. Okay, and we will edit the outbound internet access policy for our user and server network. So since we will filter based on the applications that these networks will use, we will select any service, which is right here, instead of internet ports. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off web filter. We do not need that for now, but let's go ahead and enable application control within our policy, and let's specify the profile for employees. And that's it. So let's go ahead and let's save our changes. So now let's move this aside. We now see application control applied. So within this updated policy, any device from our user and server network, they will be able to access Facebook.com, but they will be restricted in accessing some of the micro applications within Facebook that we define within our profile. With that configured, let's go back to our user computer and let's refresh Facebook.com. Okay, so we're still connected to Facebook.com, But when we try to post something here on this page, you will see very quickly that nothing happens and our page just continues to load. So basically it's being blocked, or that micro application is being blocked. Okay. In terms of liking a post, this is what we have noticed, and it's something to keep in mind. When you like a post like this one here, it will show that it is liked, but it will not accept the action of that when we refresh the page. Once again, you need to keep that in mind. Okay. So also, if we try to launch the game Mafia Wars, which we also wanted to block, and say, yes, let's leave the page, it would not load the game. It would just basically load and load and load. However, we can launch other games like Candy Crush, because that wasn't a micro application that we wanted to block. So you can quickly see it will load up pretty quickly. Because once again, we're not blocking this game. Okay, so back to the post that we liked. So let's go ahead and refresh the page, or go back to our page here. Okay, so you can see that the like that we did, that the changes itself did not take place. So once again, just something to keep in mind. That is one of the drawbacks with the FortiGate firewalls that we notice in a few environments that are doing micro application filtering. It is not consistent compared to the Cisco ASA and the Palo Alto Networks next generation firewalls. Now, most environments, they do not enable many of the micro applications for an application like Facebook. They tend to block the entire application altogether, or block it using the web filter profile. Let's go back to our firewall and let's view the security events for application control, which is here under log and report and security log. So there is not an option here for application control. So let's refresh our admin page. And let's go back to security logs. And now we see application control. This will show the events of applications and micro applications that were blocked. So here we see Mafia Wars was blocked, including Facebook chat, which we did not use. But this happens when the chat plugin or the micro application was trying to communicate to get the list of available friends that are online. Well, it was unable to do so because we are blocking that. Now, our other events that we did for posting and liking hasn't shown up yet, and it will take some time before they do get updated. But this is where you can go to view all that particular information to see what your users are accessing in terms of applications and if they're being blocked. As I mentioned before, the behavior and the consistency of micro application filtering isn't very reliable. Plus, it doesn't provide any error or block page that the user will see. So what we can do is we're going to simply block the applications entirely. So for example, let's go back to our application control profile that we created for our employees. Let's select that profile, which is located here. Go to employees. Okay. And here, let's remove all the individual application signatures that we added to be blocked. Okay, and let's delete this signature. And now let's block all social media applications. And let's also block games. And of course we can add or select other categories here that we want to be blocked. So let's go ahead and update these changes. Let's go back to our user computer and let's try to access facebook.com. And now access to that application gets blocked with a block page with all the details very similar to a web filter block page. So this is another way for implementing application filtering with a security policy on the FortiGate.